It's not. Mama.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome to Deck Talk Podcast. I'm Colin Burnett, and over there is Norman Lee. In the middle that we got is Ryan Gotts. So, what's up, guys?
What's going on, guys? How you doing, Colin?
Pretty good. I'm a little tired. I've been working all night, and then came to Jack's Bait and Tackle for their little 56-year anniversary celebration. So, Norman and Ryan, y'all want to tell them what we're doing here?
All right, I'll get it started right here. We are at Jack's Bait and Tackle. It is Jack's Bait and Tackle 56th year anniversary of serving their customers and the fishermen of the greater Chattanooga area. You know what? That's a pretty good accomplishment, you know, for a local bait and tackle shop, a mom and pop bait and tackle shop, to be open 56 years. I mean, you just don't hear that, do you?
No. For sure we don't. But we got the privilege and honor to have Ryan start this podcast with us. And before we start chit-chatting with Ryan, we want to tell everybody, leave a message in the comments. Tell us that you are here. If you got any questions for Ryan, Norman, or myself, leave them in the comments, and we will definitely answer them. Ryan will answer pretty much anything besides asking for waypoints. So we will not.
Might give them away to the whole don't work.
Right. So we definitely want y'all to leave comments, ask questions. A lot of the folks that's typically on here is here. It might be a little slow on the question aspect of things, but we are going to get this going. We do have a giveaway, and Norman, you want to tell them about how to get the giveaway?
Yeah. Ask your questions. You have a question for Colin, myself, or Ryan. Make sure you ask your question. We are going to pick, or I am going to pick the best question asked during this taping of the podcast. So, anyway, guys, ask your questions. The best question will win a pretty cool prize back at the end of the episode.
Yeah. So, let's see. Ryan, you ready to start your?
Ready to start?
Let's Ryan, let's talk a little bit about yourself. How'd you get started into fishing?
I started at a young age. My mom and dad, my grandpa, we all went fishing. That's what we wanted to do. Started fishing in small tournaments with dad at the age of 5. We fished down on Jackie Jack out of a solo boat. I can remember very clearly. Just going down there, spending time with mom and dad, being down there with my grandparents, and go down there and fish. I remember that, which was super cool to be able to do. That's the way we started. That's the way I got into it. So.
Right. Now, people can kind of see from the top of your hoodie there that you are sponsored and So typically thinking that you're sponsoring and stuff, you're fishing some tournaments and stuff, right?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the tournaments and stuff. Let's talk about the one that you just done here yesterday.
Yep. So I actually fished the American Bass Association, ABA, is what everybody knows it as, at Chickamauga yesterday. It wasn't my best finish. It wasn't my worst finish. One of them in between tournaments. We put in at Dayton. I made the run back down here a little lower end. I started doing the creek, and I pretty much started throwing Spro. This is new. This is Speed Demon. This is actually one of my favorite colors. Miss Kim has here in the store. This bait right here is 4-wheel bait. Everybody knows Spro has the little John. Everybody loves Little John. Dean Rojas made that bait to make it runs perfect. It's real true. So what I was doing with that bait was I was throwing it transition. Bait fish moving to the areas. On that transition area, those trees, and they were in the brush, they were on the log, they were on everything. So everybody hanging out, hollering. So we might get distracted.
We want to apologize because again we are outside Jack's Bait and Tackle, and so you got this Bonnie Oaks right here in front of us. So we got the car traffic, and then we probably got about 150 people here right now. So it's not going to be the quietest, but we will do this. We're definitely going to have Ryan on again to where it's going to be studio and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot quieter and a lot less whisper sound. So sorry about that, Ryan.
I thought we were going to do this. I knew we were going to do one in the studio, so we just both of us showed up in the same area, so we decided to do a little fast one real fast, y'all. What I was talking about, those fish were in those transition areas. They were in that, still in that transition area. Water warming up, air temperature warming up. Those fish are moving to spawning areas. And moving main river where they were staged, main treat channels where they were staged for the. The train's been going off for the last hour and a half, but they're in that staging area, and they're moving to the spot. You can catch them but I did catch a lot of my fish yesterday was on Zoom. This is just an original brush hog, guys. I was throwing it on a Texas rig with an EcoPro weight.
What size weight?
What was that? 8 pounds weight.
I
was gonna lie. I didn't want to force those fish to bite, so I had to move real slow. Water temperature dropped over like 9. Yesterday the coast front hit right in the day, and overnight, it's real chilly. Today it's still a little bit cold. We're all bundled up.
Yeah.
He's got his Sperry.
Oh yeah. Let's do a little fashion on this right here. Norman over here. He's spent 3 weeks in Chicago, 90 degrees. And then he comes home here Friday, and then we're doing this today. And his wife, poor Tanya, shows up, and Norman's like, "Hey, I'm cold." And so he took her jacket, and now Tanya had to go home because she was getting cold. So I tell you, what a fairy, dude. I'm telling you.
I seen the fairy once too. I see myself one too. The way the fish is.
Tell you what, you have to be comfortable in your skin to wear a fairy jacket.
I love this fish.
We're going to give him a hard time about this fairy coat. He took his wife. It might have been actually his, right? No. She probably
put it on.
Make it like that's what he picked up in Florida.
That's why he picked down there. Yeah, I went to that bottom weight. I don't know, a lot of guys are going for 16.5 ounce flipping. But I was flipping an 8 ounce weight around brush and stuff like that. And I've done a video on Facebook, Instagram, about one of my flipping setups. and I was throwing it on a 12-pound line. With a medium heavy rod, actually it's a neck heavy Dobbins rod, which I love very nice because it has a very low, very fast tip, very fast tip, and a little bit back actually make it easy. No, you're good.
Sorry guys, technical error. You see the mic is on underneath your picture? There you go. Alright, sorry guys. I just figured out what it was. Sorry for all the echo. I'm people saying echo. So I was like, we're trying to figure it out. But and sorry again for interrupting.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
I was trying to. As y'all was talking, I was trying to listen to make sure it wasn't nothing on my mind.
No.
But I throw it on a 7.3 Dobbins meg heavy. It's like a medium heavy. It's not one of those meg heavies. I can still throw a frog or a small swim bait on it and be no problem. But I was throwing it on a 12-pound K9 line with an 8-ounce head. Again, we're going to flipping her. Just flipping her brush and stuff like that, and throwing it on ridges where they're moving to.
So when you're throwing that 7.3, when you're throwing like a 6.3, do you like a moderate or a fast tip?
I like a moderate tip. And sometimes I do use that fast tip. If I'm flipping a heavy cover or something, I want it where it snaps back and faster. Just because I know having to get on that brush. It's got a moderate tip on it. I can barely pull them out. You have to be careful. You will break your rod. Done it a few times. Just being me. I don't want to force this fish out of the brush, but sometimes you have to let them come out themselves.
Yeah. So that's the hardest thing to do is just you got him. You gotta sit there.
You set into him. You're like, that's good. And I had it yesterday. I had one. I flipped into the top, flipped into it, go in, look at me. Well, I think it's going to be one. I said, yeah, I think it's whack. And I said into it. I mean, I can tell it was a big fish. And it pulled. Me having a 12-pound line. I didn't want to force those fish to buy a 20-pound line. And then seeing stuff like that all the time. I didn't want to force that. So I went to that water. I had to play this fish. I got it outside of the boat. And I guess where she was in the tree, the hook rolled in our mouth. It just popped outside the boat. That's part of our game. And we just have to go day by day. So I went on to the next pocket called a 3.5. So.
Well, I kind of make it move.
Oh yeah, it made me feel a little bit better because I didn't have to worry about catching another big one. I catch a limit. If I caught a limit, I may have 10 pounds, 11 pounds. I only had 5 pounds yesterday. I only had 2 fish, but it was just timing, stuff like that. I was not on time to fish. I went on the right spot.
And again, we want to let everybody know that we're doing the podcast just like how we do our other podcasts. Ask questions. Right now, if you've got any questions for Ryan, this is a perfect time to hit him. He's going to be open to conversation, chit chat. Also doing a giveaway to the best question Norman the best question that is asked. We're going to be interviewing Ryan for a bit. Then we're going to have Jamie Jones and Jack Daniels Williams. Then we're going to have Kim on. We might have other people on.
We might have people jump in.
Yeah, just kind of jump in for a second. But again, ask questions. We want to the gift that we're giving away. Let's see. I looked at the wrong camera. Is $20 gift card to Jack's Big Tackle. I'd hate to give it to Ryan because
it looks really good to me. I got some baits I need to grab. Guys, we're sorry about this rain right here. We knew there was going to be a few go through.
That's just part of it. Being out here outside. Again, let's talk about some the BFL. How long have you been fishing the BFL?
I've been fishing since I was 16. That's the age you start fishing BFL since 16. When I started out as a angler, I started out as an angler, learning as I could. That's what encouraged a lot of people to do. They want to start fishing tournaments and everything like that. I know.
Hold on, guys. Train stay on the line.
That's bad. But I encourage a lot more to fish as a co-over. If I hear some wild spots all the time, I'm going to slow down, stop for a second. I think we have much more training.
We're not in that big hurry to get you off because it's.
I don't know how long it is.
It's longer than normal.
Yeah. But I want to encourage you guys, if you're wanting to fish, go out fishing a lot. I love how I start to talk, it's just,
Seems like it kind of fades out.
Ta-da! Hello, I'm back here. I'm going to try to wait. I don't think it is. Oh, there it is. BFLs, I started out as a co-angler, and that's what I encourage a lot of young anglers to do. I've encouraged a lot of kids to start fishing on the back of the boat and fish as a co-angler, which is really cool to me because I know in high school, when I fished high school, I fished the BFLs and Elko, and I would learn so much and put it into play in the places we went to during the high school tournaments, and I would catch a limit doing that, and I'd be like, wow, that's something I just learned during the tournaments, and it's super cool to be able to do that. And then last year, at the front of the boat, we had Boulder, and a bunch of companies stepped in and helped me pay my ways and make it where I can actually just not stress a lot about paying it and have to worry about that. And
because that makes a difference.
It does. If you're out there and you're worried about making a check, knowing you're paying your next check, that's what stresses you.
And which Norman, you know a lot of it too. With you fishing LW is about, about having to pay tournaments, having to.
The worst thing is a tournament angler is you have to worry about other things other than your on-the-water productivity. And when you could actually not have anything else to worry about but what you're doing, what your job is on the water, that's the key, especially when you start fishing at that upper level like that. You can't have any other worries about what you're doing on the water. And we've got the companies out there that help support you and allow you to do what you do.
It's one of the things where you can actually relieve and actually go out there and keep your focus.
And that's the key there. You have to 100% focus on what's going on in the water. You can't worry about the little things like, where you're going to pick an opportunity.
It's going to be one of those things. I'm worried about paying for the sponsors that help that. Truly amazing. And for the first few years, I was paying
I remember.
You also set questions too. Now you start about have to catch it. As an angler, you don't want to think about I have to catch a check. You start thinking about I have to catch a check and pay my bill for the next tournament. That's just tough.
And talking about Miss Kim here at Jack's Baker is one of my sponsors. And she has helped me tremendously. And she knows that I stress myself to catch every tournament after every tournament. She comes in. She talks to me and she goes, hey, you did your best. She keeps me stressing about showing that I I didn't catch them. I'm showing them how tough it was. And that's just part of Ken's here will tell you that fishing is part of mental game. You just got to keep your head down, focus, catching fish, and so stuff like
Yeah.
that. But the BFL, going back to that. There we go. So I mean, a lot of like the BFLs, they go to Chickamauga, Watts Bar, Nicky Jack, not Nicky Jack, that's ABA. They're going there in May, which is really into my playbook, and I like playing on that river. But they go to Douglas, Cherokee, South Holston.
Now, what division is that?
Volunteer. Yeah, there's 100 tournaments out there for anybody around the country. California, all the way to South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida. They have a bunch of BFLs, and that's how a lot of the professionals got started fishing those. So that's the cool part is now still fishing the BFLs. These guys still come and fish with us. Like they don't let the big name fame come get them, and they still go fishing and still have fun in the BFLs where they cut their teeth as young anglers.
A lot of the guys you see that's Hansel and Nance, fishing the big tour today.
Yeah.
They started out like Ryan was saying earlier on the back as a co-angler.
I can tell you one of the guys that I have talked to so much that started in the back of the boat, and that's Brian New. Brian New started out in the back of the boat. Looking at him now, he's fishing the Elite Series. Won his very first Elite Series last year at what was it? St. John's.
There's St. John's.
It was St. John's.
It's Florida.
Yeah, it was down in Florida, which I want to be in Florida right now because it's cold in it. But
the first event he as a pro he fished.
Yeah.
Because there was just this year, the second tournament of the year.
A rookie one, Joey Fuentes. Yeah. Last year on Toho, I fished the Bassmaster Opens last year as a co-angler. Still learning, still trying to cut my teeth. And I learned a lot from Joey. Joey was actually my boater on day one on Toho. We fished on the lower end of the lake. He was live scoping. Everybody don't think about it. Florida is a big rod, big line, big bait. No, he had a jerk bait in his hand and was live scoping down there. He caught 29 pounds in front of me, which taught me a ton about a live scope being a big factor. And big congratulations to Joey Fuentes on his first big major win on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Heck yeah. You gotta like the cowboy guy though too.
I do. I asked him about that, and he said when I started, he said nobody knew me. He said I grew up in Arkansas and everything like that, but I pretty much went from everybody knowing me as Joey to cowboy. So it's so cool to see him. He runs down the river with that thing between his legs, and he's running using his hot foot. It's so cool watching that.
We got Aaron Vincent is watching. He said, "Hello guys,
what's up,
not
Aaron?
gonna make it. He just got home from church. So, what's up, Aaron?
What up, Aaron?
So, I know you know this cat that's sitting next to me. So,
yeah, I didn't make it to the last Extreme Anglers on Guntersville. I was fishing. I was practicing for Nicky Jack at another tournament there. So.
Let's talk a little bit, which we didn't have this. This is going to be a question that is not on there. So, you talked about high school fishing and stuff like that. How did fishing high school? Because for like Norman and I, that was not around. So how did high school fishing help you to be able to get to where you're at right now?
High school fishing, like for me, was a major thing because it helped me practice and go to different lakes that we would go to in the bigger tournaments, and would get my mind right. Like, oh, those fish are going to be here, those fish are going to be there. It was one of those things that was like I can understand it and put it in perspective of. It taught me a lot more than just going out there and just fishing.
Yeah.
Because you're fishing against a lot of great high school anglers in the nation. Which I fished Bass Nation, I fished Northwest Georgia High School Anglers Association a lot, and we traveled. Northwest Georgia High School Anglers actually had one yesterday in Nickajack. So that was super cool because I still get to watch those kids grow up and fish these tournaments and actually not have to worry about it. They get to watch and see stuff that is learning from like me or learning from different kids that actually went up and started trying to fish and try to make the name. There's still a high school angler out there that is making his name for himself, and he fishes Northwest Georgia, but he jumped in his first BFL the other day in Gunnersville. He went practice, he went done everything by himself, and during the tournament it changed.
Right. That's what that was going to be another question I was going to ask you is, what's the how much do you rely on what you do in practice to going out? Like, let's say you're going out there, and let's say for instance Gunnersville, and you got all that grass, and you're punching that grass, and you're whacking them during practice, and then you might have a cold front come through, and it changes everything up. How long are you going to go with still punching until you say, all right, I got to change something, maybe throw a chatterbait through?
And there's a lot of things in that too, that like the practice, like we try to fish the whole lake. Everybody knows that. Chickamauga, Gunnersville, this Tennessee River, it changes on a minute.
Oh, it does.
And practice, like you could find a pattern, like you said, flipping. Like I do that here in the fall time. I flip a lot, I punch, stuff like that. But when in practice you find that one spot and you throw it, you punch, but you could slide off the edge of that and throw a chatterbait. Yeah. Like if you know there's an edge to it, you can throw a chatterbait down there, and you never know, the fish could still be up in it. And they're not biting that punching bait because they don't want to react. You have to react to it. Yeah. You throw a chatterbait down the edge of that, and it's going to click one of the nerves, and it'll be like, oh, that's what I want. Yeah. So, I mean, you can still fish those same areas, but you just got to remember to very loud fish.
But you gotta love exhaust on an infinity, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because like. I learned, I spent first 16 years of my life I spent in Nashville on Old Hickory Lake.
I fished a tournament down there 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
and
but
that place
because you called me up.
I did.
I
called
you're
you
like,
up.
Man, what's going on? And I've gone up there multiple times, even since the time that I need you to go with me. Yeah. We'll just go.
And the cool part is now that Thunder Rocket Lures, Wade Warner, he lives up there too, so it's super cool.
Oh yeah, he lived because I talked to him on the phone while Norman was gone. Yep. I was a busy bee. I really didn't realize how much Norman done because I was juggling, working at McKee, editing some videos, and getting everything set up for the podcast, talking to other people about sponsoring the podcast, and so I hollered at him. And talked to him for an hour and 45 minutes. We just talked strictly just fishing for an hour and 45 minutes. And
you talked that first 15 minutes about what you're going to do. The rest of that was fishing.
The rest of it was fishing. But it was a good conversation. So, we're going to have him on. And, that's what we was talking about. Like, a lot of it was talking about Old Hickory, Percy Priest, and up in that area and fishing that area. But
see, when I went up there, we went up there in like October. Like it was rough. It was still hot. The fish were like not biting because of how hot it was. The water temperature.
Yeah, it was an odd. When you went up,
80s. Yeah,
I remember it was odd temperature.
Yeah, it was super hot that year, and for some reason those fish were just not relating to what they wanted to, and so pretty much we just went slinging for the fences because that was the first time I ever seen the water, first day of practice.
Yeah.
Because I went down there, I pre-practiced one day. Went down there with my grandfather and pre-practiced one day, and ended up finding a little pattern in the grass, and on the lower end, and then like during practice for three whole days, we fished up the river, trying to find something up there, and I realized how much that upper end looks like Nick and Jack with the wood and the
But it
rock,
don't fish
but
anything.
they don't fish nothing like it. So I put my head down to it, and I was like, okay, we're going to fish down this on the lower end the whole tournament. And that whole tournament, we fished down there, and we fished, and we ended up catching three fish like that. Hey, we got kids running by. At least they're out here
This is
having
awesome,
fun.
though. I mean, we
It's
had a
super
great,
cool.
great turnout.
Everybody's under the canopy right now. They're doing giveaways
Yeah.
here. It's super cool. They're giving away giveaways and stuff like that. So super cool for everybody to be here. Super cool for me to be a part of this.
Had a good fish fry.
Oh, dude.
Man, I'm smelling it. As soon as I got here, we got
We got on
everything
the
set
podcast.
up and started getting the podcast. So all I'm doing is just smelling fried fish right now.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, living on Chickamauga, you know, with the grass and stuff that we got here, and even on the south side of Nickajack, but which all I've really done.
I hate to interrupt you, but I think we got another train coming
Yeah, we
through.
got another train.
It's not. I think it's 15-minute intervals where they come through. So I mean,
You just
we
give
got
us
a little bit of
second.
time.
Yeah.
That's the only sucky part about being outside. But we love being outside. That's what I love to do. Love being outside. But having that train every 15 minutes is what sucks.
So maybe this one's not as long as that other.
Hopefully not. But we can still talk in between the two, in between the loud parts. That's good.
Yeah. Still going.
It is. But this one ain't as loud as the last one.
There's a lot of trash right here.
Oh, dude. CC, what is it?
CCX.
CSX?
Or CSX.
Yeah, it's one of the big major trains around here. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
This is
train capital.
train capital of the United States coming right through Chattanooga.
Yeah.
'Cause you can get anywhere in the United States from right here.
Yeah. So, we got.
Yeah. Hey, we need you to leave some questions.
Yeah, leave us some questions.
Need some questions.
Yeah, get on live and
What are we talking about?
different
If you want to
things.
ask Ryan a question, we need some questions because right now we don't have any questions to be able to ask Ryan for the giveaway.
For the
What are we giving away?
$20.
$20 gift card.
Okay.
You
Hey.
need that.
Hey, don't get beat out by Jamie again.
Right.
And guys, see, Jamie's actually, he was cooking. He ain't been able to get on the
Yeah, but how in the world is he out here in shorts?
shorts and
And
flip flops,
flip-flops.
guys. He is out here in shorts and flip flops and got a hoodie on.
Yeah.
You're talking and looking.
We are.
It's about you.
It's about you, buddy. We're talking about your shorts and flip flops, son.
All year round.
It is, and I seen him in December at the Christmas party, and he had shorts and flip flops on. So, guys, the train is still going.
So you wish I had a couple more layers on.
But what I was saying though is like I fished. I guess I've been here for 23 years. I've been in
Yep.
Chattanooga area.
And the crazy part is about that. I'll be turning 23 this year, so you've been here as long as I have.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. But like I've always flipped grass. But then when I went down with Norman, we went down to Escapoga. You think grass is grass? It's going to do the same.
No.
I learned so much, and Norman, you can kind of help break it down, and Ryan, you can get into it also. Like, what's the difference in between fishing like Florida grass and fishing Tennessee, Chickamauga, Nickajack grass?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, fishing grass is fishing grass.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're in Chickamauga, you got Mountain High Yoga, I mean, basically the same concept. You know, you go down to Lake Okeechobee, and different times of the year, you got mats, you got hyacinth mats, which you got down in Okeechobee. It's not really hydraulics, it's floating mats that float in and get lost and hung up in the weeds, or it's not attached to the bottom. There's a root system that goes down, but especially like when you get cold fronts during the wintertime, the fish will pull up under these mats because typically the water temperature is a little bit warmer under these mats. So they'll actually get right up under the mat, not on the bottom. They'll pull up right underneath the bottom of the mat, right on the surface, but underneath the bottom of the mat. So typically when you punch through it,
It's first thing.
yeah, well, when you punch through it, once your weight falls to the bottom, if nothing hits it on the way down, because typically they're going to hit it on the way past. If they don't hit it, you want to bring it up to the bottom of the mat, so you feel your weight hit the bottom of the mat, just bounce right
Yeah.
up under there.
I call that knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Knocking on the door.
But when you're punching hydrilla like that, mats of hydrilla, basically
I'll do it right
there's
there.
not a lot of difference between
Yeah,
the
there's really
yards.
not.
It's basically the same concept.
Yeah, and when I went down to Florida, I fished for 2 years. I went down to Florida each year for the Bassmaster Opens. And I fished Harris Chain and I fished Toe Oak. And Harris Chain looked a whole lot different from Toe Oak. And the only part is, like, when I went down there, I'd find lily pads and stuff like that, and I'd do the same thing that I do on Gunnersville and Chickamauga. But if I found lily pads, I'd swim a swim bait through them.
Yeah.
And then you could flip them, punch them. And I was flipping with hay grass. I was flipping hay grass with different things. And it was so cool actually learning how to do that a lot better while I was down there. And then you bring it back to here. And like with me traveling, I go to different places. And now that I find hay grass, I can still flip and do it like that.
You can pretty much, no matter where you are, you find the same type of vegetation, same type of cover, and you can pretty much take what you know or what you learn from another lake and bring it no matter where you go.
And another, like, talking about grass fishing, I have a bait laying here on the table that is super cool. It just come out of ICAST a few years ago. I mean, last year. I was thinking of not something else. Sorry, guys. But we have two baits that's laying here on the table, and one of them is from Thunder Rocket Lures, and one of them is from Owner, which it's a cool little thing. I want to pull this out. This is the new mag draft. Where am I going? It's like a mag draft style bait, but it's got an Owner hook, treble hook in it, and everything like that. And this is a smaller version. This is like a 5.5 inch swim bait when you're usually throwing a 6 inch or 8 inch.
And who makes that?
I think Owner does. Yeah.
Now, how soft is that?
It's got that good densibility. It's not a hard plastic. I mean, it squeezes. It's just like on a mag draft, you'll rip it after like 5 or 6 fish. I've caught like 8 on one now, and the only thing that I've had to do is change the sharpie.
Right.
So.
Which we do that typically.
Yeah.
On any kind of treble hooks that we do.
And that's like, for me, like, I change the treble hooks on everything that is super sticky hooks. I lost my train. Ooh, but I had a fender bender, y'all. We like on the Spro crankbait that I showed earlier in the day. Bye guys. I changed the hooks on those too. Even though those are Gamakatsu hooks, I want to change them to a little bit. It depends on the time of year. In the wintertime, I change them to a short shank style hook. It's a little bit more easier. And then later in the year, when it gets hotter and gets where they will open their mouth and get it, I'll change it to EWG treble hooks.
Right.
But on these, they come with short shanks, but it's a straighter hook. So if y'all can see that a little bit, I know there's a blur.
Put you on.
I have to clean that off.
Yeah.
So you see how it's like a straight shank. And I was throwing one of these yesterday, fishing around spawning areas where the fish were moving in, like I was talking about. I was throwing a crankbait in that brush hole. But I wanted to try to get that bigger bite. And so I would throw that bigger bait, and I'd sling it up there next to the log, and I'd swim it real slow.
Well, I showed you what the bigger bait would need to be what you need to be using, which we'll talk about that
Talk
here
about
in a
that
little
here in a
bit.
little bit.
But we do have a couple of things on here. Dennis Crenshaw says, "What's up, my brothers?"
What's up, now?
What's
So,
going on, Dennis? How you doing, man?
Dennis Crenshaw is, if you're ever down in Central Florida, anybody in Central Florida, and you want a crappie guide, the best crappie guide in Central Florida, hands down.
Yes, sir.
Takes care of you. Have you ever been on a guide trip that they grill you hamburgers or grill you hot dogs?
Man, I haven't had that. I'm gonna go down there and do that now. Y'all got me wanting to go down there and get a hamburger.
Yeah,
man.
we're
Go up, catch some crappie, and Dennis feeds you.
Yeah.
Does he cook the crappie after we catch him?
He lets you clean them. If you
Yeah.
want them, you can keep them.
That's
But
nice.
Zach, he said, "Look, the cook has been cooking. Sorry, no questions for me." And then Dennis Crenshaw says that he catches a lot of crappie on Poga in the grass.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
Down in Poga, they actually do the jigging pole stuff.
Oh, that seems like fun.
Long jigging poles, take them way out there, and jig them in the reeds.
won right now. I'm
Well,
about
and
to
it's
read it.
sack, it's sack too, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So here's another verbal question. Would you
All right.
rather locate your fish on down stand or side stand?
There you go, Ryan.
That is a huge question. In the summertime, I'd rather use side imaging in the summertime because I mean I can see what they're sitting on, but then at the same time I can use down scan. But to be honest, that is a hard question. Like thinking about that, if I was to choose one, I'd choose down scan because it shows you how far they are across the bottom and how far they are off.
Well, on my unit on the front, I have it to where the left screen has the side
Yep.
scan to the left, the center is
Yep.
the down
Yeah.
scan, and the right is to the right. So
Hey.
I'll take care of all that.
You take care of all that, and the cool part is like I don't have it yet. I have hummingbirds on my boat, but I'm actually about to put a Lowrance right beside it. I'm gonna run photographs on my boat,
So,
and I'm gonna have side by side.
so we got another question from Zach, and I think he's just wanting the gift card.
I think it's all you want.
But he says, what you go to best bait to use on spinning rod that you can put a fish in the boat on a very tough day?
On a very tough day.
Very tough day. Gotta be very tough.
That sounds like summertime, like middle of summer when it's 80 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
80 degrees? You call that tough?
Oh.
The water temperature, 80
Oh,
degrees.
yeah, water temperature.
I wish it was
Still
80
call
degrees
that
right
tough?
now.
Oh, you can go down there and have fun with me.
Oh, we'll have fun.
But
Dang, that's about the second accident we've
Third
seen already.
or fourth.
I think I've seen about 8 today. I've been here since early this morning. So, but on a very tough day on a spinning rod, it would either have to be a small Kitech just bouncing across the bottom on a 3/16 head or an 8-ounce head, or like I hear them over. They're talking over there. I'd have to say a Ned. It's going to be
On Nickajack?
On Nickajack. It's going to be a bounce around on that. It's going to be between a.
You keep on talking.
It's going to be between a regular size Ned rig or the new micros size. And the micros are not even that big when the regular one's that big.
This.
Where's your camera?
I typically have it on, but this is a Nickajack killer.
What color is that? That right there, ain't that one of yours, right?
Yeah, that's
That's
one of our
one of yours.
usual gun right now.
That's super cool.
That's the ones that Norman and I tie.
That is super cool. And to be that honest, I'm a small profile guy. I like throwing a spinning rod, but I'd actually probably put this on a bait caster and flip it on brush.
Well, see, Norman throws his on a spinning. I throw mine on a
Bait
bait caster.
I would flip this around like a regular jig, because I mean, sometimes I don't run a regular weed guard. Sometimes I do, but you put a trailer on that, and I mean, you could either do it like a Texas rig to expose it with a worm or something, but then you can also put a crawl on there, and that crawl is going to help it come over brush and stuff like that.
Well, what we typically do on it is we typically put a 2.7 ounce Ned rig, the TRD, on these
The
things.
regular size.
So we've smashed a few of them with them, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Real quick, I want to, and it's not on our list, Ron,
Okay.
but I want to go into something that I want to get more involved with fishing come this spring. I guess spring is about time of glide baits. Do you throw glide baits?
I do. I just got into it like 2 or 3 years ago. And the glide bait's not been a very popular thing for real long, but I got into it maybe 2 years ago, and when I started doing it, I didn't have the rod for it, I didn't have the reel for it, I didn't have the line for it. So I was throwing it on. I was throwing smaller glide baits, like this is 5 inches, 6 inches, but I throw them this time of year, like when they're starting to move up. This is the best time to throw them because everybody knows that when they're moving up, they're wanting to feed and they're wanting to produce.
They want the biggest. They want a quick, easy meal. The biggest meal that they can get.
Yeah, somebody like me coming from Florida that was really never thrown glide bait. What could you tell me or other viewers out there as far as if we want to start throwing a glide bait and trying it and kind of getting used to throwing glide bait?
Yeah.
What do we need to know to do it? What kind of setup do we need to use? Wise?
So
and before you answer that, Dennis Crenshaw wants to know the deepest depth on Nickajack. Which Dennis Nickajack is a
shallow water deal.
Well,
it's on the lower end you can find shallow water,
right? But
and on the upper end you got that 18 to 20 feet.
Right, and I've seen I think the
deepest
about 25.
The deepest I ever found was at Raccoon Mountain, and it's 87.
Oh yeah,
Raccoon. You go down to Raccoon. There's a narrow area in the river, and it backs up the water on the upper end, so it makes it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And then once it gets right through that narrows area, it deepens out. They got deeper areas. They got right at Raccoon. They dredged out a lot, and they made it to 80 foot, 90 foot. To make that deeper water going to Raccoon.
So 80, 90 foot. Dennis, all right, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Now,
glide baits.
Glide baits.
Right.
Now, what rod is that? That's what you was asking.
Yeah,
what rod? Everything about
fishing glide bait, or
what you
for our
would
viewers, what type of rods, as far as the weight of the rod, the tip of the rod, and also how about your retrieve? Because you watch a lot of the guys on TV where they're actually working the glide bait, they have a certain retrieve, a cadence that they use as well.
That's the biggest, one of the biggest things.
That is one of the biggest things, but a rod that I use most of the time, as a few people know that I got partnered up with Bobbins last year, and I've learned a lot through the rods and watching guys on TV. Chris Aldane, Carl Robertson, Brandon Paul, and them guys, and meeting them on hand, like meeting them out in public and going fishing with them. That's a cool thing. But I throw a 7.9 rod, a Dobbins rod, 7.9, 7.8, and I've seen guys get up to 8 foot. I think Chris Aldane throws an 8 foot rod. I throw a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel with it's got big handles. You can pump it when you're fishing it, and then I throw either 18 to 20 pound line. You want that bigger line because you're throwing a big bait, or a bait that weighs 3 to 4 ounces, so you can throw it and lob it out there and get it out there.
They use fluorocarbon.
Fluorocarbon. I throw fluorocarbon.
Well, that's the worst feeling though when you have too light of a line and you're throwing that big thing. Because it's not like you're just throwing like a Texas rig or a jig. Yeah. You're having to kind of load it up and just lob it. And it's the worst thing to see that glide bait just keep on.
That I've seen some glide baits get up to $500. I've seen $18 glide baits.
You think Tanya's gonna let you get one of those?
I don't know about that. But
you might have to do a lot more guide trips that way.
Yeah. I think we might have to get a little more.
Yeah, there was Chris Aldane, I think, in an event. He had lost a glide bait that
he did on Lake Fork. Lake Fork
they went back and done a video on it.
They done a video on it, and he actually went swimming for it to find it. And I think he actually found it. He finally did.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I've lost one. I lost $100 one, and I'll tell you what, I wanted to go look for it, but it was in 70 foot.
If I lost a $200 bait, I wouldn't be able to come home.
I found some fish suspended on live scope, and I was throwing a glide bait to them.
You like find it or
It's gonna
But-
stay down there.
But the thing about it is that's a different bite than
It is.
anything.
It is. And like you asked for cadence. And most of the time with a glide bait or a big mag draft, like a mag draft, you straight retrieve that. But on like glide baits, you want a good glide bait. If you go to reel a glide bait and it's not jobbing the rod where it's dumped side by side, that's not a good glide bait.
I like them best flavors.
Yeah, that's where I first started throwing because they're cheap. They're not. You get them up to $40. They're not that bad.
but you don't dart the bait side by side like you would like a normal like a twitch bait.
You don't
twitch
use
it.
a rod.
No,
You
no.
actually do it with the
You do it
cadence
with
of
the
your
real handle, so it's pretty much a half a turn or a full turn to make it do that one.
It's really how, isn't it? Like the difference in between like the full and a half is really how wide it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Because on a full turn, what I do is it'll take it and it'll dot back to back.
Yeah.
But on a half turn, it'll dot one side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if you have a 7 foot, 7'9", and you asked about this, and I forgot to answer that. Fast. I want it to be fast because as soon as you feel that bait dart to one side and it pulls you a little bit, that's when you do that other treat and it darts back. Because you can dart it in and out from under docks or in between poles and make it to where it fits perfectly and gets into the areas.
Good stuff.
Yeah, which actually I've got 2 or 3 tied on in the box right now for next week.
Well, we kind of got down a rabbit hole with you.
We did. We went down the hole, back at the hole, to another one.
Yeah, we found about 4 of them. I like them old.
That old center console looks good.
You also fished the Toyota series,
Yes. Yep.
right? Now, where have you gone? Because you've done one.
We'd already done one. We've done it down on Lake Gunnersville, and I still, and as a few people know, I fished the ABAs, the BFLs, and the Toyotas. Those are the 3 major ones that I fish. ABAs and BFLs I fish as a boater. Toyotas I still fish as a code because I still want to get that learning experience.
Right, and that's the best. I mean, you got.
And as a young angler, I still talk to my mom and dad a lot. And next year they want me to step up. They want me to jump into that boater seat. And
Yeah.
next year that's what I'm probably going to do.
But I think you're about right there to where you, comfortably where you're not going to be. I mean, yeah, the nerves and stuff's going to be there.
It's going to be there, but at the same time, I know these guys that I fish against are still the same as me.
Right.
They're not better than me, and they're not as worse than me. We're all the same.
Yeah, because all really you need to do like this year is just be a sponge to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, you have another question?
Let's see. Dennis says, I'm coming up there, so you and Norm need to get ready to show me y'all's bass techniques. Bring it on, Dennis. Anytime. We told you, anytime you come, we're going to take you out. We're going to show you a good time. The difference, though, is our boats don't have a grill on it. So, but let's see. My dad said, do you have to use electronics more right now with the difference in the water levels and water temps to locate what the bass are doing?
Yes, because you want to find. And right now, we've had a drop in weather, so it's going to drop that water temperature.
Yeah.
And I found it in the middle of the week at 61, 62. And yesterday I found it at 58.
Yeah.
It dropped like 3 degrees. But though that 1 degree water temp will change everything.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like we were talking earlier, like the TVA systems. You know, the TVA changes from minute to minute. I mean, you could be on them, and just like that. I mean,
They shut off. They're still there,
yeah,
but they're not mine.
And now,
I've
like
had
with the
that.
live scope, it kind of more of like a
It hurts
kick in
you.
the mouth
Yeah.
because you're seeing them,
Mhm.
and you can see them even come up to the bait. They'll nose the bait,
They'll push it.
and then like to where 5 minutes earlier, they're
They were-
demolished.
Yeah, you
But-
watch them and it's like you throw a jerk bait or a glide bait or a Alabama rig, and you watch them, and they're coming up, and they're drilling it, they're pushing it 5 feet.
Yeah.
And the next second they run up to it, and you're like, oh, here they come, and they're like, and you're like, oh. It just makes you it makes you like know how bad like live scope can hurt you.
Yeah. So, did you write that question down for my dad? Do you use electronics more?
Yes,
And let's see. So, Ryan, what made you decide that you wanted to fish professionally?
at a very young age, like when I started fishing tournaments, like it made one of them things like I feel happy doing it. Like it calms me down. It's one of my stress relievers.
Well, that's the best therapy I say is getting out on the water.
Getting out on the water. And during practice, you get out there by yourself. You're out there by yourself having fun.
Yeah.
And then you start catching them. You're by yourself and you're having a good time. You forget about everything.
Yeah.
But at a young age, even in when I was in kindergarten, I can remember telling my teacher, "Hey, I'm going to be a professional." I'm going to do that. And I have teachers to this day. They come up to me and I see you finally pulled your jig.
Yeah.
And that makes it super cool. But I wanted to just show myself and produce checks, fish, and doing what I love, and that would be my job. And that's what I'm doing. And I mean, I do it now. I work another job there. I'm able to go out there and fish, but
there's a lot of, I mean, even in like the elites and then on the MLF.
Y'all remember when the elites came here a few years back? Luke Palmer told me, I seen him at Bass Pro when I worked at Bass Pro. I seen him up there, and he looked at me and he goes, "I'm gonna have to go home and work." He goes, "I didn't make a check, and I have to go home and work." I'm like, "Dang, you still working? Like, you've been professional for 5-6 years now."
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah." He said, "But that's what we have to do to pay our ways and pay our gas."
You know, another thing too is everybody sees these guys on TV all the time with all their fancy jerseys and their sponsors. What they don't realize is that they have to cash checks on a consistent basis.
And we talked about that earlier. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
They actually have to cash checks to be able to finish the year out in some cases.
Yes.
Well, I mean, even if they don't cash checks, it might be the difference in between them coming back next year or not. So, I mean,
just because you see all that on their jerseys doesn't mean that they have their full rate pay.
right. I mean, the names on the jersey helps out in some way or another.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
it's like
not
I told Colin earlier, the people on my jersey have that a lot.
Yeah.
Because half the time, and like you just said, it makes the difference. You're coming back getting short fish.
Yeah.
Because they can help pay a little bit or they can pay everything. But if they don't pay everything, you've got to come back and pay yourself.
Now, what's the difference in between the trails that you fish?
ABA and BFLs, and they promote it on their website. That's for the weekend warriors. That's for the guys that go out there every week and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to fish professionally. I want to try to make it," but they don't have the time to get out there and go all week long. So BFL, ABAs have that for the guys that can't go out professionally.
Right.
And then Toyota Series, those are the higher end. Those are what Jack Daniel fished last year and made the tour this year. And that's what he's able to do because you can qualify and make it professional. That was good.
I was about to ask.
Yep.
Does it kind of look like him from behind?
Yep, that's Gary.
That was Gary Nash. We're going to snag him on here
Let's
too.
snag him for a minute. We got a wave. Everybody's waving. We're over here. We're the only
We've been on here for an hour. We
went down a rabbit hole and talked for 30 minutes on one thing, and then went down another hole.
So well, you know, Gary,
Hey, Gary.
we're gonna grab you too.
All
right.
Come on, Gary.
You just come up, make an appearance, and leave.
That's
I see you.
That's Gary right there.
Yeah.
Come here and hop in with me. We're on camera.
That's
That's our camera. Come over here.
this here.
Oh.
There he is.
There's Gary Nash.
Very nice.
When you want to go catch some smallies on Nickajack, holler at him.
When he's fishing.
Yeah, when he's fishing. And when does your Monday night start?
April 17th
April 17th.
at Wolf Teever.
All right.
April 17th, we'll teaser
What
at
time?
6.
Blast off. Sign ups close at 6:20. Blast off 6:30.
Sounds good.
6:30 to first tournament will be till 8:30 or 9:30.
9:30.
9:30 first turn. So 6:30 to 9:30, guys.
Y'all have fun.
All
See
right,
you,
bro.
Gary.
See you, Gary.
Those are fun tournaments too, guys. That a lot of people don't know about. Big professional anglers, they'll jump in those Monday nighters, Tuesday nighters, Wednesday nighters, Thursday nighters, Friday nighters. They jump in those.
Yeah, but the bad thing about it is every tournament that goes on during the night around here, this boy is on the truck. So
That's when we feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Because I'll be out there and we'll be fishing a tournament, we'll be fishing, and then he's like, he texts us and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Fishing." He goes, "Dang."
See you, Ryan.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Slinging them sweet cakes around.
Hey, that's when I wish he comes around and he brings me some of them little Debbies on the water. He throws them off the bridge.
That's what I might need to do. Like instead of a food truck, just have a food boat.
Hey, you
Little
pay
Debbies.
some money, son. Because you know us, we get out there and we forget about eating breakfast. We forget about
Oh, yeah.
eating
I
snacks.
tell you, we got somebody on this podcast that's the world's worst about it. It could be 90 degrees out there.
He don't have a water.
If you don't hand him a water, Gatorade, or anything like that, he's just. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you need a drink.
I guess you turn on me.
Yep.
And I can say it. I used to do it too, but I got to where in the summertime when I'm fishing them 80 degree, 90 degree.
Did you get the cup?
Yeah,
Got the cup.
Rick gave it to me.
Dang,
Did you see that cup?
I did. It looked good. But like in the 80 to 90 degree weathers, when they're actually catching them and everything like that, I'm just gonna phone call. And everything like that, we have to drink or not.
Yeah.
And a few years ago on Bass Fest on Chickamauga, back the first ever Bass Fest, Takaitu, Takamiri had an injury and he got dehydrated real bad, and he got real sick.
Well, now you see every time he has something at the front of the boat. I mean, at all times. He keeps it at the front of the boat. He's got a drink in the.
It's console.
Yep.
And that's the cool part about the boats nowadays. They have cup holders up front.
Yeah.
Mine don't, but I swear, right there beside my electronics, I have my drinks.
So, Norman, you got any other questions? We're going to have, it's going to be an hour long, and what we're going to do, we'll probably shut this off with this and then start the podcast back up after we get, because Jamie's still frying fish.
Jamie still got that good smelling fish. I know Colin wants a little bit before.
I'm starving, and I just got to use the restroom. I got to be like a racehorse.
Hey, that's why we don't drink it drink off.
And so, but
We did forget about one thing.
what's up?
We did.
Oh.
forget.
Yeah, I thought we kind of hit it. When
We did, but we didn't show them. I know a lot of guys
Yeah, let's show them.
on the podcast have not seen them.
And Norman, have you seen these
Have you
things?
seen these, Norman?
I have not.
So we can talk to you about them and talk
Yeah.
to the viewers. So let you see the A rig. So this is the Thunder bait. This is the Thunder bait. This one is the same thing as the it's got the same blade as the Alabama rig has, and this is super cool because it has a regular blade up here, but at the same time, if you look, this is really different. This is the Thunder Rocket Lures. This is our blade. This is what it looks like. And it's a rattle chain. It has 2 rattles in it, and as it comes to the water, it spins. But as that thing falls in the water column, that blade stands straight up and spins on the way down. And you got that rattle too. But as Norman here has, we also have an Alabama rig. Has the same thing. We have
You can see.
yeah,
where-
you can see. This is like you can see the rattles in it. So there's 2 rattles in it. There's a chamber in the middle. Every time those rattles, it rattles. Every time it turns, it rattles. Super cool, super nice. I love this thing.
Man, we missed all the rods given out.
Like ACCs, Lose, Ducky,
Man,
shirts. Dang, everybody.
everybody got something.
Everybody got something. And this is super cool because all the other A rigs you see out there has 5 wires and a bunch of blades. We have that changed. We have it where you have the rattle, and we also have 3 hooks. We have 3 wires on it, and you can make them to wherever you want them because when they come out of the package, they're straight. So you can make it wherever you want it, whatever size you want it. whatever size you want on it and everything like that. That's super cool.
Well, I know that and when I was talking to them about coming on to the podcast, and I was telling them, first time I seen it, I was like, Ryan Gotsey showed me, and I was like,
And it was super cool because I was one of the first guys around.
oh yeah,
And I got to tell what I wanted on the next one. And now we're talking about building different things.
oh yeah. He
That's
was
super
telling me some of the
cool.
stuff that
And
they were going to do, and I'm like,
I've got some stuff. I've got some things that is super cool that I'm working on myself with Wade. We're talking about a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And that's what you just said. There's some few things. I talked about making a 6 inch, making like a spinner ball.
yeah,
Well, not a spinner, but a spoon. Make it like that.
right.
So, I mean, that would be super cool because you've never seen a spoon that looks like that.
Now, Norman, what is your opinion? Just looking at it,
I'm ready to take it out and throw it at
I know for a fact,
You know,
this here has been killing some bass on Nickajack.
Now, when the A-Rig bite was on, you seen pictures of me having it.
Yeah.
And I had them tied on. And for like 3 weeks in a row, I was catching doubles. Doubles, that's where they were stacking them.
And those things are in stock at Jack's Bait and Tackle, right?
I seen a Facebook post of you throwing this.
Yes.
And you had some donkeys on that. But, you know, I've actually never, I'm not going to say never. I have thrown A-Rig before, but I haven't thrown it a lot. But this right here, like this, that makes me want to get out and throw an A-Rig.
There he is.
There
Jack
it is.
made it.
How y'all doing? What's that?
We will we'll actually
doing?
sit down and we'll
We're wanting to have you on here too.
okay. We'll get you here in a
Are we
Did you
going
catch anything?
You catch me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we got something to talk about.
We got something to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
There you go. So
That's
awesome to see you. Jack showed up. He fished the Chattanooga Crappie Club today. So that sounds pretty cool. Y'all got a lot to talk about.
So, Ryan, not to cut you short, but it's been an hour
It's
and
been an
6
hour
minutes.
and 6 minutes, and we get to do this again.
Okay.
I get to come in the studio.
We're going to have Ryan. We're going to be able to go down many more rabbit holes with him,
And we won't be able to make it.
Yeah.
We're going to make it so long. So.
and it might be a little bit better for Norman because he won't have to wear the fairy coat.
He's going to go inside for a minute.
Oh yeah, we're going to have to. And that's the reason why Norman's been over there quiet because he's over here. His teeth are over there chattering.
Yeah.
Look like a Parkinson's.
So.
But,
Heck
give
yeah,
it about
Ryan, we
15-minute
appreciate it.
break, right?
And
Yep.
we're going to probably take about, a 15, 20-minute break. Let me get something to eat. Let me go pee. And,
You can talk about those next week.
yeah.
Awesome, Ryan. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to have him on here pretty soon again. So, thank
See
you
you in
guys.
15.
See you here in
See
about
you.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.